All right, everybody, it is December 1st, and that means the holiday season is on like Donkey Kong, is it? Does anybody remember Donkey Kong? Let me see. Johnny Schaefer is here every first Sunday with us here on the Big Daily Blend. He's an award-winning singer-songwriter. Keep up with him at hearjohnny.com. Johnny, do you remember Donkey Kong?
I do, yes.
Right.
I don't think we had it on our TV. We had Pong, which was the very first one, but some of my friends had Donkey Kong, and I used to go to their house and play it sometimes.
Donkey Kong. Now, does the holiday season remind you of those kind of gatherings? Did you ever do that during the season? Like, we'd have those parties of family get-togethers, and then the kids would go off and like, let's go to the basement and play this game. Did you do that?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of my best memories are Christmas. I'm totally a Christmas guy. Like, we put our tree up early and leave it up late, and I love everything about Christmas and have all kinds of different memories like that. And my dad was a preacher, and he used to leave the front. I grew up in a small town, Porterville, and we used to leave the front door open because he was hard of hearing, and so people would just walk in our house, and all the neighborhood kids would walk in our house. So I was just used to our house being this big kind of center of people coming in and out all the time.
But that's also kind of a Mexican tradition too. In Porterville, California, everyone up in the Sequoia region, that's kind of a tradition even in Mexico, right? Paco, does his family celebrate that, where people go from house to house doing celebrating?
They do. Yeah. Yep, they do that, and the more the merrier, and mi casa es su casa and all that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's how we were, like in South Africa. I was I was going to say as an adult, I was at like a teenage. I grew up in my teenage years in South Africa, and all our friends and family were together. It was like a community unit. And you couldn't get away with anything, really. But we really did try, and we did. We were good at pouring our parents their cocktails for them and taking a sip in between. So anyway, we were good kids. But you know what? It was like that. It's like if you had a gathering, the parents and the kids, everybody. It was so. I don't know. Everybody went from house to house, throughout the season. It was like you didn't stay in one house celebrating Christmas. Everybody celebrated together. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of good food and extra presents that way. I'm just saying. Johnny, are you ready? We're going to go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, with my dad being a pastor too, he was kind of like, old school in terms of like, leading up to Christmas, that's Advent, and then you do the 12 days of Christmas starting on, Christmas Eve, and then going into, Epiphany on January 6th. And so the Christmas album that I released, a couple of years ago, From Here to Nativity, follows that. So it starts in Advent, and then it goes to Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then through the 12 days of Christmas on to Epiphany. And so it's, just a big, giant, month plus celebration for us. So
do you have an
I can't wait to hear everyone's stories, and I do always. I bought someone when I was in Europe. When we just got back from Europe, and I bought some new ones. So yes, I definitely do Advent calendars.
You got to post pics. We want to see them. I mean, Advent calendars are like magical. They're like fun. They're really fun. I want to go to South Carolina. We're going to get Joe Clark back on the show. Have Glass will travel, Joe Clark. And Joe goes everywhere. She's on our show every second Sunday at 7 p.m. And December, she'll be on talking about where, Joe? Where are we going?
We are staying home for Christmas. I'll be home for Christmas. So we will be talking about all the things to do for a beach Christmas.
In South Carolina. Myrtle Beach area. Very cool. There's nothing like a Southern Christmas, right?
There's not. Our Santa can surf.
Really? Ooh. I might have to meet him. Do you have pecan pie at your Christmas? This is important.
Well, of course, but
Okay.
usually it has, a bourbon chocolate bottom, pecans on top,
Very good. Mm.
2 layers.
Everyone, I want people to know your website, haveglassfulltravel.com and recipestravelculture.com. So, I'm excited to learn more about your area, which Nancy and I've been through, and it's beautiful.
It
Does it get
is.
cold?
It got cold this morning.
Ooh, no, you don't go on the beach then,
Yes,
huh?
you know what the saying, what a difference a day makes. Boy,
Mm.
it's true. Yesterday, I was still walking my 3 miles on the beach in a bathing suit. And today I had on a hoodie, a long sleeve t-shirt, and a vest.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like, and gloves.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was, and the wind wasn't that bad. It was actually that cold. It was like 40 something. And then
Yeah.
what little wind we had, it was a feels like 38.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
I
that
don't like
North
that.
Carolina got some snow and everything. So,
Yeah, lots of
um,
people had snow. People were
yeah,
posting.
we didn't. Here in Tucson, Arizona, it's been 82 sunny degrees, a little bit chilly at night in the 40s, but sunny, delightful. I'm just saying.
I
Hello,
know.
home of Tucson. It's
I
good.
was lapping up that sunshine till today. Well, we had
Uh,
plenty of sun today, but cold. Woo-hoo.
it is an interesting, season already. Let's go up a little north of you. We're going to go to, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Cliff. Cliff Garstang, award-winning author, is here, editor and writer. Go to cliffordgarstang.com. Stanton, am I saying this right up in West Virginia?
Yeah.
You got it right. Not West Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. Sorry. West Stanton. Stanton, not, but it's Staunton is how it's spelled.
Right.
Oh, I got 1 out of 2. Okay. So, it's not bad. We're recording on a Friday afternoon. It's not bad. But Stanton, yeah. So what's your weather like? Did you get some snow?
We did get some snow, just dusting.
Woohoo.
Nothing too serious. There might be a little more tonight, but probably not much.
Huh.
Y'all keep
So,
it up there.
yeah. Well, Joe wants to go back to her yoga on the beach, Cliff. That's what's
Hey,
happening.
always.
Now, your childhood Christmas, I know you and Joe, and also Elaine Powers, the author too, were on our hometown happy hour show recently and talking about, a lot of Midwest history between you and Elaine, and then there's Virginia history between you and Joe. Cliff, I think you're related to everyone. I don't know, but you connect with everyone. Let's put it that way. It doesn't sound right to be related to everyone, especially if you're in Virginia. I'm just saying, oopsie. But Cliff, in regards to hometown, like, I know you were in Indianapolis. Now that's going to connect you to Ward. See how I'm going here? Ward has Indiana
Wow.
history. Yep.
Impressive.
This is good. Segue here, huh?
Yeah, that's very good.
You wouldn't believe
Ward,
it's a Friday afternoon.
what's your Indiana connection, Ward?
Well, I moved to Salem, Indiana when I was probably 3 or 4, and then and grew up in Indiana until I was 16 or 17. And then went back east for school. There was a religious school that my parents had gone to, so I went there too. So, my formative years were spent in Indiana, mostly in Indianapolis or just north of Indianapolis in a town called Lebanon.
Yeah, well, I know Lebanon. So we were in Indianapolis from when I was maybe 3 to age 11, and then moved away. And my parents moved back to Indianapolis after I went to college. So, and then I spent 5 years in Bloomington in graduate school. So,
Yeah, my sister graduated from Bloomington, from IU, and her husband, and they've been married for, oh gosh, it's got to be at least 30 years. I don't
It's the
remember now.
Bloomington way. This
Yeah.
is insane, Cliff. What is going on? Every time you come on a show, you have lived where people have lived,
that's right. Yeah.
This is your claim to, like, Matt Cost owns Happy Hour, but you own living in places that everybody else has lived in. This is fantastic. I love this. But, so does Indiana do Christmas right? We've been to Indiana, We did do Indiana in February and it was cold and snowy. Um, and we were in a neighborhood, something with bridges or rainbow bridge, some bridge thing. And French bridges. Is there a French bridges on the
French
broad or
lick.
something?
There's a French lick.
No, it wasn't the French lick.
French
I would
bridges.
remember that.
Yeah, I don't know
It
what you're
was,
talking about.
Uh-oh.
but all I know is the Great Dane I was walking wanted to go after muskrat in the water. It was
Mhm.
outside the downtown. I'm gonna have to Google this stuff and look where we were, but it was gorgeous. We were on this water and we went there in the fall and then we went back in winter, drove from Asheville, North Carolina. And I mean, there is I have to say the Midwest in the winter, it's cruel but insanely beautiful. It is gorgeous. There's nothing like it. The ice in the trees, like I don't want out of the car. I'm like, it's cold, but it's so beautiful. Would you say that, Cliff, about the Midwest winters or no?
I would. Sure. I mean, it's not that different here in Virginia because, I'm at a slightly higher elevation, living between the mountain ranges. So it's kind of similar to up north in the Midwest. But what I wanted to say about Indianapolis at Christmas time, of course, we left when I was 11 or 12. So memory is not all that clear. But there's this thing in downtown Indianapolis called Monument Circle, which has this war memorial monument right in the middle of the circle. It's like the heart of downtown. And they used to, and probably still do, string white lights from the top of the monument down around the circle. So it looks like a giant Christmas tree. And that's a pretty fantastic sight that draws a lot of people into the city.
Mm.
I can
Now, Ward, do
vouch
you remember
I
that?
can vouch
Oh,
for Cliff on that. Yep, I remember that very well. And there, we always did some fun things too. And one of the main things that we used to do was go to Butler Hill. That was on. There's a college called Butler, Indiana, northern Indiana is flat, so finding a hill is kind of hard sometimes. But they had a hill that, compared to anything that you see out east, it's not much of a hill, but you can actually sled down it. And so when we got on our Christmas breaks, we'd bug our parents to drive us over there and go sledding.
And
wow.
Ward, we lived about 3 blocks from there, so we were also sledding there all the time.
Yeah.
What? This is crazy, you guys. And I found out where we were. We were at the Broad Ripple area.
Yeah, Broad Ripple.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, but it was pretty
That's where I would have gone to high school if I had stayed there for high school. Broad Ripple High
oh,
School.
well, there you go. So everyone, just to bring him back on the show, he's a San
Mhm.
Diego employment attorney, and you can keep up with him at bestemploymentattorneysandiego.com because he owns the best domain name for that, right? So then he's a good lawyer, and he's aggressive, right, Ward? And he's on. He's here every fourth Wednesday giving advice. And Ward, next week, we're getting ready for um, letting people know, employers know what to do and not to do for holiday parties because now COVID's over, right? Um, Shenanigans could happen again and people have to be careful. Do we have to, you know?
You got to be a little careful. I actually just finished the article before we got on the air, and I've changed it just a little bit because there are also things that you can do during the workday that can create problems too. And it really has to do with religious observance and freedom of religion and accommodations that employers have to do for employees and their religious practices.
Ooh. All righty. Well, there you go. We got two attorneys here. Cliff is a former attorney as well. Cliff, what was your specialty as an attorney? Because Ward's
I
employment law, yours,
I
we're on the
did
fight.
international banking.
Don't look at my bank account, man.
I was going to say that shut everybody up.
I
International
know
banking.
everybody just went, no, don't look, don't look on the offshore side. Well, no, okay.
You're wondering what that means?
No, but didn't one of our states, is it the Dakotas or Wyoming, open up like a different kind of like an offshore banking thing? Didn't they do that? like recently, was it North or South Dakota, opening up like a banking thing where other people can do it. It was like a world banking site, or is that crypto? I don't know. Something happened there. It was like a new industry that they created.
Yeah, I don't
Hmm.
know. If it had anything to do with crypto, I'll be totally confused because that's, you know, news since I
Funny
stopped
money.
doing this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's different. It's different. Well, let me bring our next guest on. Terry Guthrie is a travel writer and former travel journalist, broadcaster as well. And you would have heard her and her husband Ron on our aviation history show that has just aired. And you can go to her website, travelwithterry.net, and that's Terri, excuse me, .net. And she just came back from Turkey. However, how I'm saying turkey is not how we say turkey anymore. So welcome back, Terry. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm doing great. A little jet lagged. Yeah, we've just been home about 24 hours, so still taking it a little slow, being lazy.
But now, and home is Dallas area, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, she's from Texas, but you travel the world and you and your husband have been doing that for many years, especially with your husband being a pilot.
Right.
You get to jump seat still, right? And your daughter, isn't your daughter involved in this too? She's,
Yeah, yeah, we're kind of an aviation family. So Ron, yeah, as you know, he was a fighter pilot for 7 years. Then he was international captain with Delta Airlines for 35 years, and our daughter is now a flight attendant for with American Airlines, and our son-in-law, one of our son-in-laws, is her husband is a pilot for Frontier right now, and
wow.
so yes, I get to fly standby on
I just gonna
Delta
say, wait a
and
minute.
American.
You get good deals basically and stand by and jump seats. Do you get jump seats?
Yes.
Do you still
Well,
get jump?
no, jump seats are really for the flight attendants. Um, but yeah, I get to fly standby when there are seats available. I get to fly on any seat that's available. So that's nice. And yeah,
Hmm.
it's pretty nice, having Delta and American, two major airlines. So I do take advantage of
Huh.
it.
I'm thinking I may need to like find a boyfriend that flies or something now. I'm just thinking.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm starting to think that
Yeah.
single life may need to change. I'm just kidding, everybody. But so Turkey is different, right? Turkey is Turkiye. How
What,
do you
Turkey.
pronounce
Turkey
Turkiye?
is, and it's spelled Turkiye. And so it's still in the transition stage, I would say. You kind of see signage with both spellings, and you hear people saying both. I was not aware there was a different pronunciation until I was over there. But yeah, this is an amazing country. We absolutely loved it. We had been once before, a few years ago, on a cruise ship. We went to Ephesus, which is amazing. But our first time to Istanbul, and we were there for a total of 2 weeks. So I had a
Wow.
fantastic trip. I also did a 5-day trip to Southwest Turkey on the coastline, which is not that far from Greece. In fact, we could see a couple of islands that were Greek islands from the beach there. But that's where there's a lot of historical ancient ruins there that,
Mm,
that date like before Christ.
mm.
I thought things were old in Rome, but this is a whole new level of what we were
Yeah,
seeing.
yeah.
It was just unbelievable. And yeah, it was fantastic. It was
You got to
fantastic.
think about
Beautiful country.
The Turkish wars and everything. I mean, like that is some crazy history that went down there. And so,
Yes.
well, you have a story about Christmas from Turkey.
Yes, yes. So
Turkey,
one of
Turkey,
Turkey.
excuse me.
No, that's okay. So one of the coastal towns there in southwest Turkey is called Myra, Myra. And I was excited to learn about and get to visit the actual site of and church of St. Nicholas. And that is where we get Santa Claus from. So he was born in that area. And the story goes that his parents both died when he was young, but left him a lot of money. And I think he was raised by like an aunt or uncle, but he was seeing young girls go into prostitution. I'm going into all the detail. That was one thing that
Whoa.
really weighed heavily on his heart. And he started giving them money and gifts to try to get them out of prostitution. And it went
Wow.
on to, he went on to help orphans and also sailors. So those were his three groups that he really tried to help and was very generous with his resources. And of course, the community loved and adored him, and he was highly respected. And as time went on, he became a saint, and there is a church there. It's called the St. Nicholas Church that we got to visit, and he's actually where he was buried, and got to see his carved out stone tomb. And anyway, it's a real sweet story, and you can see how, Santa Claus kind of
Yeah.
got started from that and the gift of
Wow.
giving. Yeah.
Wow. Cause I always thought like St. Nick, like I thought Germany, which is where Cliff, you're going next, right? Is Germany.
That's right.
And I always thought that was like Santa Claus land. Or, I mean, then we've got NORAD, but anyway, we can track Santa, but, you've been to Germany before. Have you seen any Santa stuff in Germany? Santa stuff. Like, that's so nice.
Are you,
Uh,
you're talking
I-
to, okay, Cliff.
Cliff, yeah.
yeah, not that I recall.
Hmm.
Christmas markets, of course, but not so heavily into Santa. I'm on my way to Leipzig, though, and one of the two big churches in Leipzig is a St. Nicholas church. So I will be going
Hmm.
there for sure.
Well, that's cool. Now, Johnny, I know you've been to Germany before, and you just came back from Europe. Did you see any I would say, sorry, Santa stuff out there?
Yeah, they were just kind of starting to set up all the Christmas villages, and there were parts of the cities that had Christmas stuff up already, and this wasn't even. It was tail end of October
So it's
into
getting
first
started.
few
And
days
what
of
about
November.
you, Joe?
Yeah.
I know you went to Portugal and the Azores, right? And you've been around the world too. Is there any places in the world that you've experienced Christmas different than like South Carolina and Virginia?
Yeah, I went to Osaka, Japan, and spent Christmas and New Year's with my best friend from grad school. I did that, oh God, a long time ago. And, not so much Christmas, but, New Year's was the big thing. And that was a lot of fun. Everywhere we went to the, shrines and different, um,
That's cool.
places that we went. All the women, especially the women, were in the traditional dress, and it was just beautiful that they dressed up like that for the holiday. Um, then in Live Oak, Florida, they had snow. I was down there, and the Busy Bee
What?
Travel Center, the man that owns that, has a snow machine brought in
Oh,
every year, and they build this huge ramp. They block off all the streets downtown, and they build a big ramp, and they cover it in snow so that all the children, big and little, because we
hmm.
certainly were on the ramp too. But you just go around and around and get your sled, and you come sliding down that hill of snow, because Live Oak, Florida is not known for their snowfall.
Hmm.
So most of these kids have never seen snow, and certainly never been on a sled, but
Hmm.
that's something that he believes in. And with his connections, he had the big Coca-Cola truck, the 18-wheeler with Santa Claus came in, and they had two trucks, one with Santa's workshop and living
Oh,
quarters where the kids could visit Santa, and the other was filled with toys so that every child in Live Oak got a toy from Santa.
hmm.
So
You know,
that was pretty cool.
there is something about snow for places that don't have snow. Like, and as a little kid, I was in Kenya. And of course, you're on the equator and it's summer. And so there's no snow unless you want to go up Kilimanjaro. But, ours are like there, we kind of are like in an little expat community. I don't even like the term expat, but American and British community a little bit. And so there's no Christmas trees and anything like that. But so we all had thorn trees as Christmas trees with lights and everything, which like that's a little dangerous. I'm just saying, thinking back,
Mhm.
but as
Wow.
kids,
At
you're
least we have
raised.
palm trees.
Yeah, but you're raised as
Mhm.
kids to know what thorn trees were, and so it was just different, just a whole different kind of Christmas thing. And then in South Africa, we used to go to the beach for Christmas,
Yep.
and it's summer, so it's so weird. I'm sure Cliff, when you lived in Asia, was it like that too? Like Christmas a little different?
Oh, very different. So Singapore is 90 miles north of the equator. So it's the same weather all the time. Definitely no snow. The only time you're cold is if you crank up the air conditioning, which I
Yeah.
did. But it's pretty funny at the equator to even see a fake Santa Claus or a blow up Santa Claus or somebody pretending to be Santa Claus because they're wearing this big
They're dying.
red suit and they're dying. It's too hot. So yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But usually, because Christmas is often followed hard on by Chinese New Year, um, sometimes the decorations overlap. You've got Christmas decorations, and then they put up the fake cherry blossom
Mm,
branches as a decoration for the Spring Festival,
mm.
it's Chinese New Year. Um, but those are fake too because we don't have cherry blossoms in Singapore either. So,
Wow. And then the dragons. To me, the dragons are the cool thing. I
oh yeah,
love the dragons.
dragons are cool. Absolutely.
That is cool. That is cool. I want to go to Ward over in San Diego. We used to live in Julian in the mountain town, and man, people would come up that hill if we even had a little bit of snow. And I remember when we first moved in, they're like, oh, we get snow a little bit, little dusting. First time we went to a Chamber of Commerce mixer in Julian. We went to spend the night at a friend's resort and everybody got snowed in, but us outsiders got in and we made snow margaritas and we stayed at the resort where they were hosting it. And then when we moved that Thanksgiving weekend, which we're there, um, we got snowed in. We moved into a cabin. We're still waiting for our house and everything. Moved into the cabin, got snowed in, didn't know what this looked like. I mean, we were fresh out of Africa in Florida too. We're like, what? In Mexico. We're like, we don't know what this stuff is. And we didn't have firewood or anything. We started burning, like, this is when the yellow pages were good. We put that in the wood burning stove. Like, we burned things because we were cold. We were not prepared. Ward, that's in your backyard. Can you imagine that? Have you been to Julian up in the mountains in the snow time? I know you go hiking and play in Mecca and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Many, many times when my kids were young, it, would snow a few times a year up there and sometimes pretty heavily. We make an effort to get up there and get sleds or whatever else we could find and enjoy the snow the way, I did growing up. And it was such an adventure for the children because, they're not exposed to this most of the year. And it's such a different thing. And yes, yeah, we get, a fair amount of snow up there in the winter.
It's kind of surprising. People think of Southern California without that. And you've got Big Bear too in the backwoods and
Oh, yeah.
Idlewild and
That gets more snow. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now,
They,
Sa- San Diego too, though. I think San Diego does some really cool Christmas events, and New Year's. I mean, just what it is like all the boat parades to me is what set it off as being a little different is the boat parades over the holidays. I
yeah.
used to
Yeah.
sit out in Oceanside and watch that and in the harbor, Mission Bay and all of that, all being lit up, you
Yeah.
know.
I've been to Mission Bay, the boat parade in Mission Bay several times. And also when you're in Mission Bay, the SeaWorld's there and they have that pinnacle and you can take you get into one of those circular things where it goes up the pinnacle and you're enclosed. Anyway, I'm not describing it very well, but
It
they
sounds
turned
like a
that into a
cocktail.
Christmas. Yeah, well, kind of. They turned that into a Christmas tree too, similar to the one that Cliff had just described in downtown
Okay.
Indiana. They do the strands all the way down to the bottom in a Christmas tree.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so I have to bring this up because Sharon Kurtz, travel writer Sharon Kurtz, she's on our shows every first Wednesday and on a lot of our shows. And she was supposed to be on the show and her travel plans changed. She's in Maui. She'll be reporting back on January 1st about everything going on in Maui and tourism and recovery efforts after the fires in Maui. And she goes there every year. So that's kind of her family tradition. And we want to get into that family traditions. Um, and she's like, this is the only opportunity we have is to cycle down a volcano. So she's doing it. I'm like, go. She's like, I'm going to try and get on board and see if I can find some. I'm just like, please just go have a good time and we'll catch up with you. And so I emailed everyone's on the show today and said, well, Sharon would be here, but she's cycling down a volcano. And next thing I know, everyone's done something with a volcano in some format. Ward, you've seen a volcano erupt. Am I right?
Yes, I have. And this is back when I was in the Marine Corps. I was stationed at Kaneohe Bay, which is on Oahu. Well, I just want to comment on what you talked about just before this about going down into the crater. That is probably Mount Haleakala on Maui. And
Mm-hmm.
it's at 10,000 feet, and they get snow there too. So even
They've had it
you,
already this year. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But so I was on the Big Island. I was an artillery officer, and we were shooting our big guns out there. And it was nighttime, and we'd do night operations, quite frequently. And one of the guys said, "Hey, I know that there's a volcano eruption at oh gosh, what's the name of that place? I'm not remembering the name of the volcano. It's not Mauna
Kilauea.
Loa. Kilauea.
Kilauea.
Yes, Kilauea. And he got out his binoculars and we snuck up this hill and looked out over the plain because where we
Dude,
are,
dude, Ward, the military can hear you right now. Like they're just kidding.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, no, I'm giving away secrets all over the place, but yeah, I'll probably survive. Um, where we were was at about 6,000 feet, and it's a plateau between two big mountains, Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. And they're at 14,000 feet and they get snow too. But we're on this little hill in this plateau and we're looking over toward Kilauea, which is about due south from where we were. And there's this lava, bright red lava just flowing out of this
That's
volcano.
crazy.
And we estimated that it was like 600 feet maybe up in the air. It was huge because we were so
Wow.
far away. We're miles away, miles and miles away. And we had to use our binoculars to really see it. But it was something else to see through binoculars. I mean, there's a lot of red stuff coming up out of the ground.
Wow. This is insane. Like you get to see this. This is so epic in life to have these moments. Now, Joe, you experienced a volcano in the Azores, and this is when your eye like decided to blow off. Like
Yep,
literally. I'm no kidding. Joe's story is crazy.
it is. Yep, I had gone blind in that eye. It had filled with blood, and I had a patch over it. So going down into a volcano, which was semi-dark and lots of steps. It wasn't like we were, climbing down a mountainside. We were going down steps. Um, so I was hanging onto the rail and taking each step one foot and then bring the other foot down level. Cause there was no depth perception with one eye. So it was a
Mm.
challenge, but I wasn't going to miss anything. So, Tercera Island is made up of four large volcanoes. And this one, where usually when a volcano blows, they kind of implode and fill back up. This one didn't. The top blew off, so it's open to the sky. So inside is lush and green and beautiful. So it was really a cool thing to see. And something I forgot until somebody started talking about Hawaii. I had two Christmases one year.
Oh wow. So did you hang with Elvis? Yeah, I'm just saying,
Yeah, no, I didn't, but we were on a Hawaiian cruise and we had to cross the international date line and went down into the Fanning Islands and we went across the date line and it was Christmas Day. And so
Oh,
I
that's
had
cool.
Christmas Day. Then we came back to go back to the ship, and it was still Christmas Eve when we got back to the ship. So I woke up the next morning and had a second Christmas Day. So Santa came twice that year.
Go
Oh,
Santa. He was a
I
busy
know.
dude.
Mm-hmm.
Now listen, has
Mm-hmm.
anybody stolen Santa's cookies that were left out? Did anybody do that as a kid? Steal the cookies?
What do you
No,
mean?
I was too
Santa eat?
scared to.
No.
Well, apparently I
Not me.
Lisa, are you the only bad one in this group?
I don't know, but like,
Uh,
Santa's cookies. Come on, Johnny, come on. You did. Come on. No cookies? You didn't steal the
no,
cookies?
my
Oh,
parents, when Santa came, they ate them. Yeah,
yeah.
I
See,
didn't get to do that.
I thought the whole thing, yeah, I didn't really quite believe in it. I think I was too realistic
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff. I don't know, but I did, I know, I'll tell you a story about Christmas that was really magical one time, but I want to go back on this volcano thing because Cliff, now you've cycled a volcano too, what
Yes.
Sharon's doing right
So
now as we
basically,
record this.
basically the same thing. Riding down Haleakala. Um, that was fun. I did it. I have no idea what year it was. Sometime in the '80s, I guess. And I was vacationing in Maui.
Everything happened in the 80s.
Hmm.
We were in Maui with a friend and looking for things to do, and so we did this crazy ride down Haleakala, and it is pretty scary because I've been on long downhill bike rides before, but these bikes, they have no gears. It's basically just brakes because that's all you need is to
Oh,
slow yourself down. But I wanted to
yeah.
also to mention that I actually wrote a short story about this ride down Haleakala. It's called Downhill, and it's in my most recent story collection. And it's about this jerk who takes his girlfriend to Hawaii, and they ride down Haleakala together, and things don't go well.
Wow. All right. So what book is this? Which one is
That's
it?
in it's in House of the Ancients and Other
Oh,
Stories,
very
and
cool.
the story is called Downhill. And interestingly, I mean the section of the book that it's in is several stories set in Mexico, and I had been um, in Cuernavaca, and that's where the all of these stories were inspired, which of course is the setting for the great novel Under the Volcano. So because it's in the
Huh.
shadow of Popo or whatever that volcano was called.
I remember, Johnny, you were in Mexico City, you and Paco, when that volcano was erupting.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
remember
we
being
were. Yeah,
scared for
we.
you and like going, holy cow, Johnny's there and the news is like, all the smoke and the ash is flying. I'm like, no, Johnny and Paco are there. They need to get out. And you didn't. And you were fine, right?
Yeah,
You guys,
we were mostly on the other side but we could see the flames and the smoke when we drove through that area, off in the distance, and we heard reports of the whole thing with the ashes and all that, like what happened with Mount St. Helens, here years ago. But we didn't really encounter any of that. But we definitely saw the smoke and the flames. So,
wow.
yeah.
Wow. So is that do you have any other volcano stories? I just got to ask before we get,
I
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, we hiked on Mount Austin, and they had the old "We'll Climb a Volcano" T-shirts, and then we went on we explored Mount Helens a few years after it kind of died down, but nothing more. Well, actually, I'm sorry. When I was in Hawaii, we were on another island, but we could also see smoke from volcanoes. So yeah,
wow.
but
I know this
nothing
is a
real close.
Christmas and a holiday party. We're kicking off December holidays, right? But why not? Volcanoes bring light. Cliff, was it you that had another
yeah,
volcano?
I do. So there's Indonesia is full of volcanoes, of course,
That's
and
right.
there's a big one in the middle of Bali. So when I did my relatively recent now, research trip to Southeast Asia for my last book, I needed to go to Bali for that as well. Just had to go to Bali. And
Listen, this is how Cliff writes his books. He's just like, oh, I need to go to Bali.
Yeah,
By the way,
I
the
got
book
that.
is,
Mhm.
I need to go.
I
and
know. By the way, everyone, the book is called The Last Bird of Paradise, and everyone should read it, especially art lovers. But anyway, sorry. Segue.
so Mount Batur was having eruptions fairly regularly, but I had never been up to the crater, and I still didn't make it to the crater, but I did take a tour up as far as they would let us go on Mount Batur on that trip, and that was very cool. Yeah,
Hmm.
great views of the island from there.
That's awesome. Now, Terry, I've got to ask you if you're still awake from jet lag. I'm just messing with you.
Yes.
Have you done any volcano trips? Have you been to any volcanoes?
Um, well, I was just thinking, my husband and I were discussing this earlier about, y'all know there's a volcano in Iceland
Mm-hmm.
erupting pretty much right now. Well, we were there 3 years ago and it was starting to erupt as we left. And I will never forget the sight that we could see all the fire and hot lava coming out of it. We could see it pretty well from our airplane as we were taking off. And
Wow.
that was one time I was really glad to leave somewhere because it was making me a little nervous. You just don't know how it's going to go. It kind of simmered down and it's, a very active volcano, but yeah, now I believe it's reaching the parking lot of the Blue
Mm-hmm.
Lagoon area. So
Oh,
yeah, it's pretty
wow. Really? The
significant
lagoon?
this time. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
it's right by it. And,
Wow.
it was getting really active as we were departing Iceland. So that was about
Cool.
as close as I wanted to get.
Yeah, that's not the Northern Lights anymore at that
Yeah,
point. I got to give a
exactly.
shout out to a volcano here in the Tucson area, which is out in the Chiricahua National Monument. Um, you have all these hoodoos, so much of our land is volcanic. And this is a park that is, our national park system. We have over 420, 30 parks, national parks, monuments, historic sites, battlefields, you name it, national seashores. But Chiricahua National Monument, which is actually home to the very first guest ranch in the country, Faraway Ranch. It's very cool, very historic. You can go there on the Park Service. It's not a guest ranch anymore, but a lot of women's history, immigrant history, family history. But you go up and you go through the grottos. This hike is so cool. And you go up at the top and you can see where the volcanic erosions happened. And
Hmm.
some of you have been on the shows with Peggy Fiandaca, who's a winemaker, and her husband own LDV Winery, and they are right outside this. They're not even in the Wilcox winery region of Southeast Arizona. They have their own terroir, really. And their wine is so good. And when you drink wine from volcanic areas, there's a whole other world that you're tasting. And there's something, I don't know, otherworldly and magnificent. And their wine, I'm not doing this as a plug for them. I'm genuinely telling you this stuff is good. And it's from that soil that comes from this volcanic eruption. And it's drawn people from all over this area. You
Hmm.
go up and you look at the grottos, you can hike through them. There's bears, there's ring-tailed cats, quadamundis that you can see, trogon birds. You got to go. I've never seen anything erupt there, but you can see the, the remnants of it and taste good wine later. I'm just saying, not that you can actually go to the winery without an appointment, but, it is magical. And if you can go there in Christmas time or the winter and it snows, you have these, rock pieces with the snow on it is just magical. It's something
Oh,
that you
wow.
don't expect to see in the Southwest. And it is just gorgeous. So just saying, just saying. So I want to go to some Christmas food and drink traditions. Ward, what is a food and drink tradition for you and your family over the years that you still, remember or like to hold dear to your heart and celebrate?
Yeah, and most of these are from my time in Philadelphia. That's where my
Oh,
grandparents
wow.
were,
He's
and we
moving.
would go there about every other. Well, yeah, I mean, about every other year we'd go visit them, and my fondest memories are from Philadelphia because I have so many cousins there, and so it was a big to do. All the cousins came over, my aunts, uncles, the whole thing. And one of the, I mean, besides the usual Christmas fare, I had an uncle in Hershey, Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
who every year would send us when we were at my grandparents something called a Wilbur bar, and it's from her. It's a Hershey's candy bar,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about 2 feet long and a foot wide
Oh,
and a couple inches thick. And so you really need to use some type of chisel to get a piece off of it. But we would, chisel it up and pass pieces out. And that was one of my favorite times, or favorite types of food, I guess, for Christmas with my grandparents.
Wow. Okay, Cliff, anytime in in Philadelphia, I just gotta ask in case with Cliff. You never know.
Yeah, I went to the Final Four there in 1981 for Indiana basketball, but that's it.
Okay. So now what's a favorite holiday food from your family?
Well, we're big on turkey for both Thanksgiving and Christmas, and because I don't go visit family, I don't really get to do that anymore. So, my personal favorite food is in a restaurant in Europe for Thanksgiving and Christmas, if I can swing it. Um,
Ah,
but in terms of drink, I'll focus on that because
oh,
mulled wine or Glühwein
mm,
in German is
mm.
really a favorite thing to do at Christmas time. In the Christmas markets in Germany and even the faux German Christmas markets that we have here, mulled wine is served everywhere, and it's a great way to keep warm.
In South Africa, we had a lot of Germans, right, in South Africa, and they would have it. Eggnog, I didn't have until I got to this country, and I think they have it now, but we didn't do so much of that. So it's interesting about the Glühwein. I haven't heard anyone talk about that for a while. What about you, Johnny? Because you got Paco too.
Well,
Paco knows how to
yeah,
cook.
yeah. I'm
Like,
gonna.
wow.
Oh, he sure does. Yeah, and I definitely, added the tamale tradition as once we
Mm,
met. And I today, the day this airs is National Cookie Cutter Day, and my mother made these amazing Christmas cutout cookies, and to this day, it's a family tradition to
oh, Johnny went
and
away.
all the little
Oh,
sprinkles. And
okay.
um, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Now,
Hello?
so the cookie,
Okay.
yeah, you're there.
Okay, so we used to, it's a tradition in our family. We got, in solving, we found these, uh, alphabet cookie cutters. So we make everyone's name with the cookies, and then everyone sits around and decorates them with colored frosting and all the sprinkles. And it's just a family tradition now. It's not Christmas until we've sat down and decorated the Christmas, the butter Christmas cookies. And my grandma used to make Stollen, which is a
Mm,
German, it's like a sweet bread with
hmm.
dried fruits and stuff. It's a little similar to coffee cake, but it's better to me. It's kind of like a cross between a cinnamon roll, which she also made amazing cinnamon rolls. And then, like kind of a fruit cake thing.
Do, do you think
And then
the Reimers are going to
go
still
ahead.
do that? Reimers and Three Rivers was known for their
Uh,
stolen. Do you think they'll still
oh
do
yeah, I
it?
bet they will. I imagine they will. Yeah, Rob's very much about keeping all the traditions that they have, plus bringing in some new ones. So I'm
Cool.
pretty sure they will. Yeah, and
Mm.
then drinking, of course. You mentioned eggnog. If you haven't tried it, it's really good with Fireball whiskey. It just
ooh,
kind of gives it a little bit of a kick, and it's really good.
that sounds
Once
good.
my brother turned me on to that, and now I do it every year when I have eggnog. So
Well, some
yes.
people take Fireball whiskey and put it with apple cider, like
Mm-hmm.
a hard apple
Yeah.
cider, and that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
nice too for the holidays. Joe, what are you
Yeah.
doing? I never know with Joe, man. She might be having macarons again. I don't know what's going on with her, but like
That
she
that
always
sounds
finds
good.
good, she was pairing Halloween candy with wine. And so what's happening for Christmas or the holidays for you?
Well, for tradition, I mean, I'm on my third bottle of eggnog now. Um,
Wow, this has been a good
I
show.
love eggnog, and it has to be laced with Captain Applejack brandy and top it with whipped cream and grate fresh nutmeg over the top. And
Wow.
then breakfast on Christmas morning has to be oyster stew. That has been a tradition in my mother's family for 4 generations with me. If I had children, it would already be at the 5th generation and maybe more. I can only go back to my great grandparents, as far as knowing that they had oyster stew on Christmas Day. But, living in Virginia in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, they were a long way from oysters. So Christmas would be the one time that either they made the trip to the shore or somebody came to the Chatham, Callens, Danville area bringing oysters, and they would have a barrel of oysters, and they had oyster stew for breakfast on Christmas Day. And I have had it every Christmas morning of my life.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's cool. I mean, that's a specialty then. That's really special, for your family then. Like,
It is.
so, okay, Terry, what about you?
Well, first of all, my house was like a three-ring circus at Christmas growing up
In
because,
Mississippi,
yes, in
right?
Mississippi, and I'm from a big Southern family. There's six of us. I'm the fifth, and my three older brothers and sisters are a good bit older. My parents, same set of parents, but they had like three kids. They waited 10 years. They had three more. So there's 19 years apart between my older and my younger brother. And the three older ones got married kind of young, and then they had children. So I had six nieces and nephews. So I've been an aunt since I was 4. But I had six nieces and nephews that are very close to age of me, and they all lived in my hometown, and my parents' home was headquarters for everyone. So you can imagine it was crazy. It's just really
That's
chaotic,
cool.
but fun chaos. And we would get together on Christmas Eve, and it was kind of like a potluck type of thing. And that was always fun. And that's when we did a big gift exchange. On Christmas Day, we always started out with a breakfast casserole. And
Mm,
that's still a tradition that we have carried on. And my family loves that. And it's easy because we make it the night before. And in the morning, when there's so much going on, you just pop it in the oven and, then it's done and it's delicious. One of the things that my mother always made that I still love and I try to make just, in her memory is a Southern ambrosia. And I don't know if
mm,
everybody's familiar with that or not, but
mm.
it's basically fresh oranges and fresh pineapple and cherries and coconut. And we usually put some apricot rum in it.
Oh,
And it's just delicious. It's my mother always said, we just need something that has a little acid in it to break up all the sugar. So that's why we would
Mhm.
have ambrosia, but it really does. You feel like you're eating something healthy after you've eaten, so many sweet things. And speaking of sweet, our drink that our family always made that we love, and it's so fattening, but I do love it. And that's hot buttered rum.
oh
And so
yes.
that's good.
Oh,
Yeah. So that was our favorite drink, and I feel too guilty to make it now. I just don't know
why?
because it's just
Mhm.
powdered sugar and butter,
Oh, who
you know.
cares? No, see, we do
Mhm.
rum
Yeah.
balls. Our family has a history of rum balls, making
Oh,
rum
that's
balls
fun.
with those, wafers, vanilla wafers,
Oh,
cocoa,
Yes.
that's
rum.
good.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and
I love
pecans.
those.
Am I
Yeah.
saying pecans right,
Mama used to
Joe?
make those.
Pecans. I'm
Yeah.
saying it
That's
right?
what we say. We say
Pecans. Oh
pecans.
my God. I'm so
We
messed
made
up on what to say now. How to
something
pronounce things.
similar. Have y'all ever heard of date nut balls? That's
Oh
something we
yes.
made.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
They
good
do
Ooh,
that
those are
too.
in
good. They are
They do
good.
that in
Yeah.
Arizona too, like Yuma area.
Mhm.
Well, it's really
Hmm.
interesting. Like, I celebrated Christmas all over, and like our family is just like, Nancy and I travel here and there, friends, family, but the rum balls has been, I don't know if it's Nancy, Nancy loves her rum. So that's her favorite thing. So that has been a mainstay. But like in England, they do like Lancashire hot pot and they do like dumplings and they do all, and then you have all the traditions of pulling the cracker and all that stuff. But I remember licorice being a huge deal as a kid. You got these boxes of licorice, and I mean really good I'm not talking Twizzler stuff, real licorice. That was my thing. I'm like, and you once in a while we'll go. Our friends have a place out in Yuma, Arizona called the Peanut Patch, and it's peanuts and all kinds of stuff, But she has licorice, real licorice, and so we'll get licorice from her. And one New Year's Day, it snowed here in Tucson, and our friends and we went hiking and had champagne out in Saguaro National Park. And I'm not kidding you, but this is a cool thing. If you take a really good licorice strand, again, not Twizzler, but really good licorice, bite each end off, and you sip your champagne through the licorice straw. Anyway, it's a whole other thing. All I can tell you, this is kind of a tradition of licorice and champagne in our family. I don't know how to explain it, but it's good. Funny. It is funny. You can use liquor. You could do the Twizzler. It does actually work with that too. I've done it. As a straw, and then you have your champagne, and then you get a little giggly for a little bit. It's pretty fun. So it's a weird tradition, but it's cool. Let's talk a little bit about events. Ward, we talked a little bit about San Diego. Do you have any other traditions you can share from your background, your family, San Diego for the holidays? I know Terry, I want to make sure Terry tells us about this ice place, but any other destinations or anything, Ward, for you?
Yeah, the Hotel Del is an amazing place to go to around Christmas time. It's beautifully decorated. It's, a very large hotel that has over 100 years old. I mean, it's been around forever.
Haunted as
there's a haunted room in there. Yep, I've been there. I got a little scared.
Did you?
I've been in the room, but I didn't get scared.
I didn't think so. He's an employment attorney and he gets aggressive, so he doesn't get scared by ghosts. I do have
another story real quick that is not related to San Diego. It's related to my Canadian relatives, the Heinrich side of the family. We go up there every once in a while and celebrate Christmas. And the night before Christmas is when they open gifts. So we were all opening our gifts, and my grandmother would make lots of food. And the main thing was pickled tongue. Oh. And I have to say that was a big Christmas tradition, and I really love it. It's cow tongue, so it's pretty big, and I think it's great. I think it's a Germanic thing.
But listen, now wait, Ward, since you've got the German side in your family, right? Do you guys have the pickle present thing? Because we have the pickle decoration from a store in Gladewater, Texas. We went to the Christmas store, and this guy is open year round. He's a Christmas fanatic of Christmas decor and decorations. And he gave us a pickle because our history is German too, our ancestry, and Hungarian, and probably Turkey, however you say it. Turkey. Anyway, he gave us a pickle, and he said the legend of the German pickle is if you find the pickle on Christmas Day, you get an extra present. Yep. So Christmas now, we travel full time, Nancy and I. So we have our champagne. That's normally a croissant for breakfast. I don't know why that happens. Omelets, croissants, champagne is always there. And we have the pickle. And because we know who we are, there's nobody hiding anything, especially if dogs are around, they're going to find it. So we bring out the pickle every Christmas. Have you ever had the pickle in your family?
No. I wish I could make a good story out of that one, but no.
I know we could, but I'll behave. Okay, but this is cool. I mean, pickled tongue, that is German. Our family.
That's a Germanic
My great grandfather was the butcher of the Hollywood stars, and nothing went to waste. Nothing ever went to waste in meat ever, and even in Louisiana. And that was the last, holiday season last year. We were there when they celebrated in Natchitoches, Louisiana, the oldest city. They turn on their lights. And Terry, you've been in Natchitoches, right? And the
I have.
holiday,
Yes,
the
I have.
Christmas,
It's
it's
beautiful.
insanely cool. Meat pies is a big deal, but we had eggnog. You can drive through Daiquiri and get eggnog. And so anyway, it was a really happy start to their Christmas season is all I have to say. But no pickles. But Johnny, do you
Better
have
tell us
pickles in your
about maybe
family?
a gator tongue story, a pickled gator
No,
tongue. But
they
no.
have meat pies, but if you go southwest Louisiana, you get boudin, and they're using all parts of the meat with rice because Louisiana is a rice. They grow rice. And so I had hogshead cheese there. And anyway, that's what I ate. I tasted it. I was a good girl and said, that's very nice. And good for you. But is it, Johnny, do you have a pickle in your family? I shouldn't go around
Well,
the room asking
it's
this.
interesting. We've had this pickle Christmas ornament my whole life, and I actually didn't know that story, so I guess that's probably where that came from. I think it was on
Wow.
my grandmother's tree, and so I inherited it. And
You got the pickle.
I'm really into. Yes, I did. Yeah, I really every year wherever like we just went to Europe, and I bought some ornaments in each city that I went to, and I always get ornaments every year to kind of remind me of different things in my life. So our tree is just covered with, things from all through our life. And so yeah, that would be the thing with pickles. But my dad used to threaten. It was kind of just a family joke, but he'd always say, "If you're not good, you're going to get a frozen pigtail for Christmas." And so when Christmas we got my mom, we went down to the butcher shop and got Dad a frozen pigtail just as a joke. And
What?
he
No
goes, "What do you mean?
way.
I wasn't a bad boy."
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Pin the tail on the pigtail. Yeah, like really, like that's wow, wow. Joe, what about you? Do you have like decorations or anything like that, like traditions?
Um, I have a ceramic Christmas tree that I made uh, probably 50 years ago and still use that every
Wow.
year just as an extra something. Um, I
But
have
you
a
made
manger
it. That's
scene.
cool.
Yeah, I have a manger scene that I remember it from when I was a child, so it's older than I am.
Hmm.
Won't go there.
Yeah.
And I have my only Christmas stocking that I've ever had. Uh, so those are sort of my
Mm.
special traditions.
No tongue. Oh, that sounds terrible.
No,
No pickled tongue. No,
no
I'm just
pickled
more.
tongue. I'd rather go to Brook Green Gardens and see the Night of a Thousand Candles
Oh.
and go to the boat parade in the inlet. Those are those
Mm.
are my two traditions here, two of them.
Mm. So Cliff, and Ward, when we do the holiday party, conversation, I'm just saying, just be warned, I'm going to ask you about pickled tongue. That shouldn't be served at a company gathering, right? Maybe or not. I don't know. Ward will have to tell us
Pretty
when he does his
secular.
next.
I think you're okay.
Okay. All right. Everybody gets some pickled tongue. All right. So long as everyone gets to have it. Cliff, for you, anything special tradition wise?
I was thinking about decorations, and I don't really do decorations anymore, but in a tropical Christmas, we didn't have pine trees in Singapore, but we did have Norfolk pine, which is a weird looking
Oh,
plant.
wow. Yeah.
Um, and so you could hang decorations on that. It looks sort of like a Christmas tree. But here in Stanton, the one holiday thing I'm planning to do, I've talked before about this Heifetz International Music Institute that we have, and they have a holiday homecoming party where they bring in some of their faculty and a few of their students to do a lot of great classical chamber music. It's not all Christmas music, but some of it is. It's really just an opportunity for everybody to get together and have a little concert in the
Mm,
middle of December.
mm. Very cool. You bring this up. So, Christmas music, everyone, one
Hmm.
song. Joe, what's Christmas song or holiday song for you?
White Christmas.
Cliff?
Pass.
What? You don't like any Christmas music at
There,
all?
there, there is one that I like, but I can't remember the name of it, so that's why I have to pass.
Oh boy. Okay.
Well,
Ward?
hum a little and we'll help you out.
Oh yeah, we want a singing contest.
No.
Silver bells, do 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 do, silver bells.
Oh, he's
That's
in the Silver Bells. Cool.
yeah, from my childhood. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Terry?
Oh, I love Oh Holy Night.
Ah, very nice. Now I got to go to Johnny, the musician and singer-songwriter here. This is,
Yeah,
Johnny, you came on our show during Christmas. That's how we met you,
I
like
did.
a few years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the very first thing I did was Finlandia Brasiliera, which is a bossa nova Christmas song that I wrote to the melody of Finlandia by Sibelius. And it's like a Christmas Eve prayer that I wrote to that. And then Stefan Oberhoff, who has a band called Heartbeat Brazil, he put a beautiful bossa nova beat to it. And then we made a video at Robert's Cottages down in Oceanside. And we filmed it on the beach. So it's like Christmas at
I know
Joe,
those
you were talking
cottages.
about Christmas at the beach. So yeah. And we filmed it right there, and it was a warm, sunny day, and we managed to make a really nice Christmas video with that. And that's it was that day. It was all friends of mine, and we all got together, and so it's actually a beautiful memory that we all shared with each other. It's just spending that day together, making that video, and Paco did a really beautiful job on it. And then of course. Interestingly, the most popular song on my Christmas album is my version of Bring a Torch, Jeanette Isabella, which was my father's favorite Christmas carol. And so I took great care when I recorded that one and I wrote the arrangement. And maybe just because of the fact that I connected it with my father, that performance came out really nice and people really connect with it year after year. It's the most popular music video on YouTube that I have of my Christmas songs, and it gets streamed a lot. And so there's just it's a beautiful melody, and the whole story of the to this day, children in France will dress up as these milkmaids, Jeanette and Isabella, and go to church on Christmas Eve in these little milkmaid gowns, and so it's got this long tradition. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. When you think about the history of Christmas, right? And, how people have gotten to each other over time. So mine is not traditional whatsoever. Mine is from the Pretenders. 2000 miles.
Cool.
Yeah. Chrissy Hynde sings 2000 miles. And, and it's, when you think about someone who's trying to get home to their loved ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, you have a loved one out there in the cold and coming home, and I've experienced that, and that became something really near and dear to me, and of a very special person. And it's never, I don't know, I always play it in winter time. It's weird. It's a weird thing. I don't know, but it's Chrissy Hynde, man. Come on, man. She's amazing. So Cliff, do you remember the song? And then the Nutcracker. Come on. I just want to say
came up with one that I do like. Carol of the Bells is fantastic, but it wasn't originally Christmassy, but it turned out to be that. It was originally something else of the bells. But anyway, that's a good one. I also thought of another tradition that we have here, which is going to see a Christmas carol. The nonprofit theater that I work with here does a month-long production of A Christmas Carol every year. So that'll start right after Thanksgiving and run all December.
Cool. I just want to say the Nutcracker Suite is important. And it's beautiful to watch football and put that on. And it's beautiful to drive through a forest when it's snowing and put that on. I don't know but anyway, you can tell I have no clue about sports, but I do enjoy watching it with classical music. Terry, before we go, you have like a incredible event to share with everyone.
Yes, this is something new, and should be very exciting. We actually went to the JW Marriott Hill Country Resort. It's
In
just
Texas.
north. Yes, that's what I'm going to say. It's just about 12 miles north of the San Antonio airport, but it's a premier luxury destination and it's really great any time of the year. But at Christmas, it's really special because they have a hill country Christmas celebration and they have so much going on, which I'll tell you briefly about in a second. But this year they're adding ice, and this is huge. They have something like that at the Gaylord Texan here in Dallas that we have been to many times, but this is even supposed to be bigger and better. And it's a very magical event. It's full of like ice sculptures, and there's like 20,000 square feet of the resort space that's 9 degrees, and
Ooh,
it's crafted from over 2 million pounds of ice. So they brought in 40 master artisans from China that will be doing all the ice carving and just intricately detailed sculptures and towering ice scenes. And they have like a two-story slide that you can, well, actually, I think there's two of them. Two-story slides you can slide down and walk through display, a life-size nativity scene, and all kind of memorable photos that you can take in it. And of course, it's cold, but the resort provides these big blue parkas that are part of it. But in addition to that, they
huh.
have just this huge multi-tubing hill out. Now, this is outside of ice. It's called Snowflow Mountain. And it is so much fun. We did that. So, even though we may not get the most snow here in Texas, like Joe was talking about in Florida, they kind of, they can make it. And so that's a lot of fun. It is real snow. And they have all kind of like fun activities outside, even live reindeer visits and a scavenger hunt. But one of the things I loved was just capitalizing on the Santa Claus Christmas traditions. They have every night Mrs. Claus. They have a little theater, and she retells "'Twas a Night Before Christmas," and then they have sing-alongs and cookies and milk and gingerbread decorating corner with a real gingerbread man that, well, not real, but a gingerbread man in a costume that's walking around. And so, I mean, it's just so many activities that you couldn't even possibly do it in a day or a night. But it's something that, if you want to have maybe a gift as a Christmas experience, this is something fun and different and really great for the whole family. Multi-generational for sure.
I love it. I love it. I want to tell everybody, we're going to close the show off with a segment also with travel writer Barbara Redding. He's got some, Hollywood history destinations to visit for Christmas with Christmas movies. So stay tuned for that. As we
Oh,
close up here, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Terry, I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's like an epic kind of Christmas thing. And I think these
oh yeah.
events, community events too, like Christmas lights, go for that drive. The world has been tense, and the holiday season right now, no matter where you are in the world, at least try to be with a loved one, make a new friend or an old friend, have some fun and some joy. Find the joy, find the light. That's what's beautiful about this season. It's the darkest time of the year, but everybody comes out with lights, twinkly lights, Christmas lights, fireworks. If you're celebrating Hanukkah, there's light, so let's find the light. That's all I have to say as we close. And as we go around and in closing this, I just want to hear one thing from each person that's joined us about if they could spend Christmas or any winter holiday, Hanukkah, whatever holiday you want, Kwanzaa, where do you want to go and spend it? To close out and go, hey, someone else, Priscilla, our pink sock monkey, is writing the check for you. By the way, she can pay for everything anytime. She owns all the banks in the world. So, she'll pay for it. So in closing, I want to go around the room and see where you all want to go. So Joe, I'm going to start with you. Where do you want to go? Cause you go anywhere.
Ooh, well, it's tempting to say the North Pole, but in lieu of that, I think Maybe Germany, because I would love to see the German Christmas market.
Ah, there you go. Everyone, Joe is here on Big Blend Radio every second Sunday. Keep up with her at haveglasswilltravel.com and recipiestravelculture.com. All the links are in the episode notes. So, Cliff, where do you want to go? I know you're going away, but like, where do you want to go that you haven't been yet?
Well, there are lots of places I haven't been, and I have been where I want to go. So anyway, New York City. I would love to go spend Christmas in New York City.
All right, everyone, cliffordgosting.com is where to go. Ward, San Diego employment attorney. His website is bestemploymentattorneysandiego.com. I almost messed up there, Ward. Can you believe it? Where do you want to go?
Stay in San Diego County, and actually this year I'm doing it. I'm doing it the day after Christmas. I'm going up to Lake Cuyamaca with my
Oh,
RV, and I'm going to park it there for about a week. I'm going to
oh,
enjoy the cold weather and do a lot of hiking and do some fishing on the lake. So yeah, I'll just do it at Lake Cuyamaca.
are you going to go to the brewery in Julian? You have to.
We'll get out and do some, taste
I'm
some
just saying.
brew and go to dinner. Yeah, we'll do all that for sure.
And Jeremy's, you got to go to Jeremy's. I'm just
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
apple
Thanks for
pie.
reminding me. I love Jeremy's. I'll have to go out there. Yeah.
Jeremy's on the hill and Mom's apple pie. Apple Alley. I'm just gonna give a shout out to them. They've got great pie. I'm just
Yeah, they
saying
do.
you're in pie country so you're gonna do camp. I love this award. I love that you're out there with an RV. Do you enjoy it? Because I remember at the beginning you were getting all excited and then you start doing it. Are you digging it?
Oh, I love it. I took the RV to Tulsa. My nephew was getting
Yeah,
married in October, and I stopped in Santa Fe on the way out, spent a night out there. Gorgeous town, never been there.
yeah.
And on the way back, I stopped at Carlsbad Caverns, and we did the caverns, and it
Ooh.
was really amazing. That's just an amazing place.
Yes, it
So
is.
I'm having a ton of fun with it, and I'm planning on having fun just after Christmas. Like I said, just go up to Julian, the Julian area, Nick, Lake Weehawken, and enjoy all that. And then this spring in May, I'm going to go to Yellowstone. I already booked it, so I'm headed out
You're
to
doing
Yellowstone.
it?
Yeah,
Oh, dude, and May is awesome too. You can still get snow, but
yeah, I
hey,
know,
this
I
is so
know.
cool. Did you listen to JJ Cale? I'm coming after you on JJ Cale. You got to listen. If you went to Tulsa, did you? You didn't, did you?
Well,
Oh,
she was the one that talked about RVing, and yeah, I listened to that one. It was like six
no,
months
no.
ago.
I mean the musician JJ Cale that I
Oh,
sent you. The one who wrote Cocaine and After Midnight that Eric Clapton stole. I didn't say he stole it, but he played it. And no, you didn't. Oh, dude, I'm telling you. And when you go up to Julian, you got to listen to it because the album Escondido with J.J. Cale and Eric Clapton. You've got to. I'm going to
you
resend
did
it.
mention that. All right, JJ Carroll and Eric Clapton.
I
All
know.
right.
And I'm annoying about music. I will send you everybody music over and over. But Cuyamaca in the winter, having lived there, is magical. It is some of the best Christmases I've had are in that area. And just when you get that little magic, and even if you don't get the snow, it's so still and beautiful.
Oh,
Oh, I love it. Ward,
it's
you're going to have
beautiful.
such a
Yeah.
good time. You're going to
Well,
have
thank
such,
you.
and there's Mount Laguna. I'm so excited for you. Terry, where do you want to go?
Well, y'all may not know this, but I have 6 grandchildren. And so my first, and they're just at the really cute age for Christmas. So my first choice would be with them. But if I did not have my grandkids, I'm with, I can't remember if it's Cliff or Ward that said New York City. I love New York
Clint.
City at Christmas. It really is
Oh,
special. I got to have my 60th birthday there a couple of years ago, and that was my first time to be there at Christmas, and it was even more magical than I had imagined. And so, yeah, that's fantastic. I'll have to throw out that I did go to Rome one Christmas about 5 years ago, and if you go anywhere in Europe, of course, Germany is great, and there are so many great places. But I loved being in Rome at Christmas. There's just nobody that celebrates it quite like them. They're all about the nativity scene, And, it's just such a spiritual place, but it was really, really special.
I want to spend Christmas with camels, man. I love camels. I have a thing about
Mm-hmm.
camels. Johnny, where do you want to go?
Well, we were just in Edinburgh, Scotland, and Paco and I both said, wow, it'd be really cool to be here at Christmas time because, it just has a lot of the buildings that remind you of like Dickens, and it's sort of like the romantic kind of, Dickensian Christmas. And I think they were just kind of starting to decorate, and I think it'd be really beautiful. And 4 years ago, we were in Liège, Belgium, for Christmas, and it was magical. And just so I think something about being in Europe and just kind of the Christmas fantasy or whatever about the way it all looks and all the way they do Christmas there is cool. So I think we'd like to be in Edinburgh, Scotland for Christmas sometime.
Mm-hmm. And eat haggis, right? That's
Yes.
Listen, Scotch
We
eggs.
had some, yeah.
Scotch eggs are really good though. Everyone, hearjohnny.com. And also when I was talking about Terry, go to travelwithterry.net. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us for our holiday party. Stay tuned. We've got Barbara Redding next. And everyone have a happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks. Bye,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Yes.
Christmas. Lots of fun.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.